Vegas, Nevada. My second home. I'm actually flying out, hopefully flying out, knowing what's going on with our airlines, flying now back to Sacramento. You know, every time I'm here, I miss Sacramento. Every time I'm in Sacramento, I miss Las Vegas. But I guess that's the whole point. Now, this stream, well, as you know, I'm going live every Tuesday. Why am I out of breath? I just ran upstairs. I'm an old man. I'm at least for the month of August and half of July. I'm doing this at 1 p.m. every Tuesday because that's what I kind of used to do, and I really missed it. So this gives us a chance to kind of connect and hang out. And of course, it's not sponsored by anybody. It's just me hanging out. As a matter of fact, you can only watch it live, or if you're a subscriber with a bell notification, you can actually watch a replay. But generally speaking, you can't really watch it like you can't watch the replay because I just want to interact with you guys live and answer some questions. Before, as always, don't forget to put in the live chat where you guys are watching me from. And this stream is different in two different ways from the last one. One, I'm almost on time and not 25 minutes late because I'm trying to figure out how to work the YouTube after 3 years of doing this professionally. And two, it's actually on the right stream and everything looks like it's going all right. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Let me know if you can see me okay. Is this in HD? Last time it wasn't even HD, it was a disaster. I honestly don't want to bore you with what actually happened, but the way YouTube works, apparently, you can't schedule a live stream on your desktop and then stream it from your phone, which to me is crazy, but you know, Google products, what are you gonna do? Anyway, so this is my studio here in Sacramento, in Las Vegas. And the equipment that I bring here is the equipment that I normally bring to any event that I go to, which I haven't in a while. So the camera and this boom mic I actually use in my Sacramento studio. I just brought it here because the sound is better. Right now it's not working. This is just kind of like, last time I had like a Las Vegas strip behind me, so I figured I gotta give you something here because it's just a green screen, but at least everything's working out pretty good and the reception here is pretty good. All right, let's see. I'm gonna dive into some of the comments and questions. First question was, where are you? Oh, you guys are impatient. I was like 4 minutes late. All right, Florida, Mississippi, Brooklyn, Austria / Europe. I like how you make sure that I know Austria is in Europe. Yes, I'm actually from Russia, so I did have geography classes there, so I know where Austria is. One day I would love to visit. Michigan. I'm a huge Red Wings fan. Well, as much as you can be right now, right? Voice is a bit muffled. You know, guys, as long as you can hear me, it's my phone, and this is actually pretty well isolated studio. So I think this might be as good as it gets. Let me know if you know, Jeff Knight says I can hear and see you. I think that's where we're in business. Central California, Holland. That's pretty cool. You sound fine. All right, England, welcome. Vegas, Paula, I am in Vegas right now too. It's my last day. I'll be back. I actually thought I'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks. I thought I was going to the New York Auto Show. Apparently I'm not. It's so weird. Now that I have way more subscribers than I used to, I get invited to less events. Though I'm also assuming it's because COVID, but like, I don't know. But New York Auto Show didn't really work out, so for now, I think I'm okay not traveling because I already go back and forth, you know, with Vegas. And the airports are getting crazy. The lines are getting longer. The flights are getting canceled. You know, I just had somebody here who I know who was to, you know, fly out, and the flight just gets canceled. And airlines don't do crap of anything about it, right? Like they just don't. I mean, they just like, sorry, there's no plane for you. Sorry for planning your trip, your business trip or whatever, or a family vacation. You know, paying all this money and, you know, getting the babysitter for your cat. We're sorry. Go home. Go home. Though going home, you know, instead of flying here in Vegas is a little easier, right? Like if I wouldn't be able to fly out tonight, I won't be like, oh no. I'll be like, all right, another day in Vegas, right? So I think I'll handle it. Let's see. All right, let me try to scroll in a better way. Nope, can't do it. Wales, UK, Spain, Bulgaria. Wow, you guys are all over the world. Thousand Oaks, California. All right. Are you still driving the ID4? I only had it for 3 months, so I am. But the way I do it is that here in Vegas, I have my Volt, which is a plug-in hybrid, has about 40 to 50 miles on one charge, and honestly, I have only used gas for an extra, I think, 5 miles last night, because I really just, I did a lot of stuff. And it's the first time in, I think, 2 months. So here, because everything is within 20-minute radius, really, and anything beyond that is just desert, you can easily use a plug-in hybrid like the Volt with decent number of miles and, still not use gas. I just got my new Flow charger installed. You guys know they're one of the sponsors. And so, I always want to be a client or at least a fan of stuff that I talk about as sponsors. So I installed my Flow charger in the app, so I'm kind of excited because I've been using it and it's much nice. It's just nicer. The way it just plugs in, like at home in Sacramento, I have Blink. It's just the way things are plugging in, and it's just such a pleasure. So that's pretty cool. And this one has an app. Hi from Moscow, says Lord Augustine. Wow, I'm from Moscow as well. Haven't been there in about 3 decades, but I've heard the weather is really nice. I just talked to somebody in Moscow literally last night. She's a good friend of mine. Stayed out of Florida. COVID is out of control here. Well, Siggy, me. So COVID is actually, at high levels here in Vegas, but starting last Friday, the mandate of the masks inside actually went into effect. I was surprised because Vegas was kind of, it's a relatively purple area, right? So like purple meaning like half liberal, half conservative. And yeah, no, like I remember I was at the Fremont Street Experience. If you've never been, you should. It's pretty cool, just live performances. And it was like Thursday night, and it was a little after midnight. I was like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I went to the bathroom, so it's, mind you, 10 minutes after midnight, so it's Friday. Right away, security guy goes like, sir, do you have a mask? I'm like, mask. I've heard of those. Oh, I remember. Yeah, it's in my car, because I haven't used it in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Well, besides flying, except for flying. And then, yeah, he goes like, go get a mask, because you can't be walking around here. So yeah, they took it actually quite seriously here, which, if you're vaccinated like myself, you go like, damn it, I got vaccinated. But if you're not vaccinated, obviously you should be wearing it. And again, I don't want to get into politics of it, but and Vegas is much emptier now because states like California and Hawaii, where a lot of tourism comes from, put out an advisory that, don't go to Vegas, that's where you get COVID, right? So, all right, that's what it is here. How would you compare ID4 to Model Y? I would not. I honestly don't think people who buy ID4, targeting ID4, would ever consider Model Y and the other way around. Like, for example, well, I already knew I don't want Model Y regardless because of some features it has and doesn't have, like, the door handles, and the way that by the way, you can't open them with left arm. I don't know if you noticed that, but also I need the instrumental panel or HUD. If not, it's a deal breaker for me. Not for a lot of people, so I'm not preaching, but I don't think people who are genuinely like, because I already had that experience with Tesla, but let's say you just kind of coming in and you're going like, which an electric car or crossover I'm going to get. I don't think you're looking at an ID4 and thinking, well, how about Model Y? I think you're looking at ID4 and thinking, what about Mustang Mach-E, or what about RAV4? Because a lot of people don't buy these cars specifically for being electric. It like, meaning like 100% reason. I think a lot of people look at the pricing and stuff like that. So don't forget that after incentives, the ID4 gets closer to almost half of the price of Model Y. Not half, but just significantly less. So just because of the price difference, I don't think it's just the shoppers of different categories. And also, I think ID4 brings something completely different to the table than the Model Y, right? If you want slick Tesla with, self-driving features and all this, cool stuff, everything's done on a flat screen, then it's a better choice. If you're more like me, old fartish kind of a thing, like I just want a quiet, smooth ride, powerful enough to take off, but not powerful enough where I pay extra $20,000 so I can beat all of the Porsches off the red lights. and you actually want your air conditioning vents to be able to adjust, with your hands. Like to me, it's also like a deal breaker in Model Y. I do adjust those because I live in really hot areas. Sacramento and Vegas, both over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, over 40 degrees Celsius a lot of times. So I do mess around with my vents a lot, and while driving. So I just want to blindly do this, and you can't with a Model Y, right? So I think there's the target audience with different set of needs for what you want out of your crossover. Electric crossover is quite different. So I wouldn't compare them, but again, it's just really what I repeated it many times, right? I just don't like recommending cars to people, electric cars. They're so different. It's like saying, what you should do, like when people recommend me that I need to date their friend, right? Oh, I have a friend, she's so nice. Yeah, but do you know my taste in women? Do you know what I want? Maybe I really need her to cook really well. Or actually, I don't care about it at all because I go out. You don't know, right? Or sushi restaurants, right? People recommend, oh, you have to go to this great sushi restaurant, and you show up and like, wait, I'm sorry, am I right in the right place? Because you said it was great, and it's just average. Well, to them, it's great, and your taste buds are average. And if you had COVID, you might not taste anything at all. So, it's very relative. It's very personal. So, let's see. Thom Price says, holding on to my 2017 Volt until my son starts driving, then hopefully buying a Model 3. My lease expired on the Volt, and I actually extended it for 6 more months. And I might actually buy it out of the lease because I think the market price of it is going to be higher than the residual value. One of many reasons to lease, by the way, because this is the only time you kind of get to screw the bank. When the price of your leased car is either much higher or much lower than the residual value agreed upon 3 years ago when you were leasing. So I have a feeling I'll win a couple of $1,000s here. So we'll see. Let's see, I might have skipped a few. No. Did you take a ride in the tunnel that Elon Musk built in Vegas? Asks Thomas McNeely. Yes, I did. Actually, I did it last time I was here. It was absolutely, like, even right now, it's empty. Like, you get it. We even thought it was closed, me and my friend. We thought it was closed, but we kind of came in. It was just us and a few Teslas, and we rode between 3 different stations. It's definitely cool. And so I can see when there's a convention and you need to be, but you can only take, 3, 4 customers at a time. I think there's only like maybe 20 or 30 cars per station. They're only going, I think, at 40 miles an hour, at least for now. So I don't know how efficient it's going to be, honestly. It's not going to hurt anything, but originally, don't forget that the Boring Company originally presented this to us as and I remember even being at the Boring Company unveiling. That's where I actually saw Elon Musk in person, like right here in front of me. And basically the concept was that you drive in and you get hooked into this little cart that has like this little wheels kind of holding onto the rails, and then you just get like just jammed through the tunnel at like 100 miles an hour because it's not your car driving, it's essentially a little train. They make a little train cars essentially out of your car. And that's not at all what's happening, right? The cars are driving on their own power in this really, really narrow roads. You can't drive it. It's a professional driver that they hired. And it's no more than 40 miles an hour, at least for now. So really cool. I experienced it. It looks really nice. I think I posted some on my Instagram. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, you might. I just post things that I normally wouldn't on my YouTube channel, so check it out. So like when I do stuff like that, I will just post there. It wasn't enough for the video, and there's plenty of footage. It was almost kind of boring. Cool for me, but probably boring for you guys to watch me do it, It's kind of one of those things. If, like I went out on a date yesterday, and, she was hungry, and she just really loved what she ordered, and I was like, I'm just watching you eat. I'm sure that soup is very delicious, but all right, so let's see. Mark says, Alex, check out my friend Joseph Marcus YouTube. He raced an ID4 in his Tesla Model 3. Well, that's silly. I don't know why you would do it. ID4 is not very powerful, not supposed to be. It's supposed to be smooth. It will, what you said, Model 3 will kick its butt on the racetrack in, like, just embarrassingly so. So that's kind of weird, but okay, I guess you're plugging your friend, that's cool. Alberta, wait a second. Alberta says, how do you see the timeline uh, E4 electric cars in third world countries like Brazil? How many, it's kind of weird because it's just almost like missing a word. How many years will they be behind? You know, I think the third world country, it's hard to talk about it because I have not been in a third world country in a while, right? And I don't know, I don't know, I don't think you can count Russia third world country really, at least anymore, or whatever, but yeah, I haven't been. Well, I don't know, is Mexico one? I don't know. Um, Obviously, it comes down to two things, right? How much money people have? Can they afford these electric cars that are right now way more expensive than they are, not way, but more expensive than their gas counterparts? And if the government doesn't have incentives, it's even more. And second one is the infrastructure. Well, I guess I've already mentioned government, so that would be the third one. You know, is government behind it? Can people afford it? And is there a charging infrastructure? Even if you own a house, you might just, you know, own a house that just doesn't have a capacity to charge your electric car. Don't forget, about half of your house's energy, sometimes even more, depending if you maybe have two large battery cars, like two Tesla Model S cars, more than half of the electricity in your house goes to charge the car. So it's quite intense on the grid and on your panel and your bill, obviously. Let's see. So I can't tell you how many years are they're behind because it just really depends. But, you know, as always, usually 10 to 15, right? You guys are really hard for me to read your usernames. Basil P. Hi from Surrey, UK. Hello. Couldn't wait for Model Y, so I bought an I-Pace. So I'm glad I did. Different league. Well, I-Pace is a luxury car. Where we were talking about Model Y, where Model Y is not really a luxury car. So if you like luxury, obviously Jaguar would be better for you. I know the range is not great, but like I said, anything over 200 miles usually is fine, at least I think for most people. I do think, before I bought an ID4, maybe a year before that, when none of the Mustangs and ID4s were available, I did look at buying an I-Pace. And I thought, you know what, they're not selling that great, you know, I haven't heard any success stories really, and you know, if I get one at the end of the year, especially last year, I think I tried because the newer ones actually have some upgrades, right, including even the range, and I was like, I'll be able to get it really cheap, and guess what, no. All dealerships I talked to in California were like, no, we're selling it so well, we're not giving you any discounts. And it ended up being just unreasonably too much, at least here in the US and California, for me, for what it is. You know, like I think ID4 is actually a better electric car than an I-Pace for essentially half the price. But gorgeous car, luxury car, awesome that you got it. And I think, again, if you're into luxury and customer service, most of the time a Jaguar, brand like a Jaguar will definitely suit you better than a Tesla with a Model Y. And it's got an instrumental panel, so I went as well there. Siggy Me says many businesses are smart as you don't get points for killing your high rollers. Vaccinated is a seatbelt, not a shield. So, you know, right now everything's fluid, even here in Vegas. Like I've seen people get into the casino and take their masks off. I was at some other place. Yeah, so I also went to like a locals club and where you have to wear a mask to get in. And after that, because essentially it's a club and everyone's got a drink, you don't have to wear a mask because you're consuming, you know, whether alcohol, I don't drink, but you know, $7 water. This was a trip. There's some things here in Vegas are super cheap, like all you can eat sushi, $22, amazing. Clubs, for example, like it was a Sunday night, oh no, it was Sunday, yes, it was Sunday night. So like, you know, Sunday night. $30 to get in, $7 for a bottle of water. Not this, but cooler, but still water, H2O. So yeah, it was, I don't get Vegas just yet. I'm still trying to learn how to be a resident, right? Let's see, Patmos, sorry if I mispronounced, but you are a premium member. I appreciate that. I can see the little purple sign next to your name. What do you think of Mazda's upcoming MX-30 PHEV approach with a rotary range Extender, Mazda has been really behind. I mean, just like Toyota and Honda, they need. I know they're a smaller brand, but they need to step into the 21st century. The electric one that they're putting out, or maybe already have, I lost track, is pathetically bad in terms of range. They're beautiful cars, and they're great for the money that you pay them. My ex-girlfriend actually got one, and she loves it, and it's beautiful, beautiful car. That Mazda red is one of the most beautiful colors, actually stock colors that I think I've ever seen, because it looks differently at night, in the evening time, like at the sunset, and during the day. It's completely different color, even though it's the same paint. So I love that, but yeah, I mean, I don't think anything. Mazda is not even on my radar as far as electric cars are concerned. They got to do better than what they are, which is not much. SRB says, do you know if Volkswagen plans to implement the heat pump eventually on the North American version of the ID.4? I don't have any inside knowledge, and if I did, obviously, I would be under contract not to share it if they're not releasing it publicly. But my guess is they will probably see how it goes. If they notice that people are complaining about the range being way lower than the advertised range, probably it's one of the things that we'll implement. Once, just like Tesla, once they scale up, it's cheaper to put something in. As a matter of fact, it might not even cost that much extra for them, where the benefit for the consumers will be worth where, the value will go up. But if they don't, then probably not. I think this is all about the economics and the customer feedback, right? Let's see. Johansson says, hi Alex, do you have some information regarding the Model 2? Well, no. If I did, trust me, there would be a video about it. But essentially, we don't know. I mean, first of all, we don't know if it's going to be called Model 2. Secondly, we don't know what it's going to be. I'm assuming a two-door hatchback. And we don't know when Tesla decides to even unveil it, right? We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know. Yeah, I just don't know. There's not much information, but my guess, don't even worry about it until like 3 years. I don't think it's going to be on the market in, it's going to be at least 3 years. I think, but my guess is just as probably wild as anybody's because it comes to Tesla, right? Could be tomorrow, could be in 5 years. I mean, look at the semi-truck and the Roadster. I mean, honestly, what has been 5 years now until they even now saying that they're going to start making them? I mean, we usually in this industry, and you guys, my audience and audience of other channels, we usually go like, hey, listen, if you're not going to produce this car in the next year or two, don't show it to us. Unless it's some cool stuff that you're just going to keep it as a concept and never release it, that's cool. We like checking it out at the auto shows, but don't. And so yet Tesla has two models now that are at least 5 years scheduled production after the original unveiling, right? And that was the most awesome, exciting unveiling in Tesla and maybe even automotive history, right? The semi-truck with the Roadster. I mean, I was there in person. Honestly, it was amazing. And I think most of you would agree as well. Let's see, what's the next one? What is your thoughts about Fisker? Asks Adrian Brad. I think, sorry, I'm trying to navigate the chat here. Like the yellow shirt, says Brian. Thank you, I appreciate it. I got it on Amazon, like most of my wardrobe, especially shirts. Oh my goodness, I need to start catching up to comments. Fisker, here it is, sorry. All right, so my thoughts about Fisker are no. First of all, I love the emotion. I think it's one of the best designs I've ever seen. I mean, I know Henrik is a kind of controversial figure, but I've always had respect for him because every time I talk to him on camera, before that I would ask him, hey, listen, Henrik, I have some tough questions for you. I mean, I don't want him to walk away from the interview, right? And he always said, Alex, whatever you got, I will answer honestly. I have nothing to hide. And every time I did ask him a tough question, he had an answer, and he wasn't upset with me for asking it. So, because a lot of times you interview somebody and it's not the answer that's the gist of the interview. It's the fact that I asked them in their face, right? It just, and obviously I don't try to ever be rude, but like, if you remember, I interviewed the new president of Audi of America a couple of years ago, and I said, hey, what are you going to do with your dealerships? They don't want to sell this, electric car. And he's like, no, they're gonna love it, right? And then I went to the e-tron event after that, where the dealership didn't advertise it, didn't tell anybody, didn't even staff the event. If it wasn't for the local Sacramento EV Association inviting people like me, there would be nobody there, So they did cater it though for people they didn't invite, and then I was able to say, well, see, there's a disconnect, but Henry, and look now, there is a car that they are definitely going in production with, because they're doing it through a third party, Magna. By the way, I-Pace is made by Magna as well. People don't know that, but Magna makes a lot of cars that you think belong to the brand, but it's actually Magna that makes it, obviously with a recipe, and I'm glad that Henrik is going to stick to essentially to the design. Someone else is going to manufacture. They're now public. They have money. I think the name is starting to kind of bubble up to the top, and I don't see anything preventing them from succeeding. And they're already talking about a couple of other new models. They're going to bring the Fisker Ocean to the LA Auto Show, and I'm the brand ambassador for that, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, it's going to be a great small alternative to all of us. And he's doing it, at least from what I still understand, he's doing it on a subscription basis, and I love that idea. You guys know that I'm a huge fan of leasing in general, especially if you buy a new car and you're going to keep it for only a few years. I'm a huge fan of leasing, and the fact that it's essentially leasing plus stuff like insurance and a lot of warranties built into that, it's great. I love it. Let's move on. Have you driven Neo or Xpeng? And what do you think about them? Asks Siggy. I'm surprised you're asking me that, because Xpeng is one of my sponsors. Right now we're taking a break, but I'm sure they'll come back. But in my shout outs to them, it's part of the video where I test drove the P7. I'm not in China, it was here in California, so it had to be closed course, which is fine. It's just I couldn't test a lot of features like self-driving features, because they are actually location based, and you couldn't do it in California. It was like the only P7, only Xpeng Motors car in the United States. I've never driven Neo, so that's on my bucket list. Where are you living in Vegas these days? Asks 1949 LWD. Well, Silverado Ranch is actually, I just learned even the name, that's my area. So it's like southeast from the Strip, the airport. So the airport rides are relatively cheap. And one of many parameters I had was that it had to be 15 minutes or less from the Venetian Hotel, which I love. I go there sometimes at midnight when it's nice and empty. It's just janitor and me, and I read my book, drink my tea, and it's an amazing experience. I love Venetian. So that always, and free parking and pretty quick access, right? Because you can just and right there. So that's where I live. Though I specifically tried not to be here in my house as much, because I didn't buy any TVs, I didn't subscribe to cable, nothing. I really want to be out and about, because what's the point of living in Vegas if you're not experiencing Vegas? Now, granted, I've been trying to do a lot of things off this trip, but I'm a man of a habit. If I like something, I want to come back there. Because, there are several times when I went out and I tried to try a new restaurant, and you come in, and all of a sudden there's maybe a wait time, or there's you don't like the food, and you're like, ah, crap, I could have eaten at that place, which normally for me means Chipotle, where I'm going right after this. And then you're like, oh, I could have eaten there, and I instead of experimented, and then you don't want to experiment the next time, right? Same thing with places. Like last night, I went to Area 15, and granted, it's a great space. There's never any vibe there. There's not that many people for some reason. And so I was like, I could have tried another place, but I came back to the one that I kind of know, which wasn't great. So yeah, I'm trying to be a good resident and kind of get into on and off strip activities. How will Tesla open SUCS to superchargers to CCS drivers? Well, in Europe, obviously, that's going to be easy. So we're talking about Tesla. They want to allow all of us, not just Tesla drivers, everybody who drives an electric car, to be able to charge at Tesla superchargers. So in Europe, it's easy, because Tesla superchargers and everybody else except for Nissan use CCS, plugs the same, everything's perfect. Here in America, Tesla uses its own proprietary plug. So, and we've discussed this already, me and Tom on my news show when there was, a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it's either an adapter or a second, here's the thing, I think they're just gonna have to get to a second CCS connector, because somebody just told me, somebody who has a Porsche Taycan told me that they pulled up into a supercharger stall in the actual cable, because it's designed for Teslas, where we all know where the charging port is, which is very like on the corner of the car. But that cable is not long enough for Porsche Taycan, which the charging port is a little bit further from the front end, right? So even if you pull in front first, you can't charge even if you have an adapter, even if it was a CCS plug. So that problem they're going to have to solve, and it's either getting a second plugged with a second cable, or it is going to have to be an extension adapter, if you will. I don't see how else you can handle this. And don't forget, it will have to service all cars. So the cable will have to be quite long, which, by the way, those cables, they're liquid cooled. They're very expensive. That's why they're so heavy, especially on like non-Tesla networks like EVgo and Electrify America. Electrify America is like literally, I need some muscles to lift that damn thing up because it's very, very heavy. But at the same time, it's because it can go up to 350 kilowatts. So yeah. Let's see, Orlando says, hey all, what's your take on the new aerodynamic EV Aptera? Will they have success or go bust again? Well, I don't know if you're asking everybody, but I'll give you my answer since I'm already here. So I've done several videos on them. Don't forget, back in the day, it wasn't their time, Now, it's definitely their time, and things are a little different, right? The technology has moved forward. There are production facilities, and it's much easier to run an electric vehicle company, much easier, right? That's number one. Number two, don't forget, Sandy Munro is one of their investors and obviously advisors. So a lot of people will buy whatever Sandy Munro will tell them to buy. And by the way, I don't blame them. His advice is great. So there will be a lot of people, because they're competitors. There's just few other three-wheeled vehicles. This one's cool because you technically may never have to charge it if you have good sun, and the solar panels are able to built-in solar panels are able to charge them for like up to 45 miles for daily drive, and that's more than enough for a lot of people. Certainly me, a lot of the time. So I think there will be plenty of people, and don't forget, they're not going to be making 100,000 of them a year. Definitely not up front. So they have 10,000, 12,000 reservations right now. I think they're going to be off to a great start, and once people are going to see other people driving them, some areas are going to be more inclined to buy these than others. I think people will be like, yeah, I want one of those, and then probably the price will go down at some point. Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think they got something really good going on. And I got to tell you, out of all vehicles, three-wheeled vehicles, this one is the most futuristic, slick one, right? So I think they have that going on as well. So within that niche, which may not be that big, they're definitely by far, I think, the front runners. All right. Let's see. Okay, so that's another question about Aptera. Let's see. Dobby Smith asks, Alex, I'm wondering, is your Volkswagen ID4 more quiet or less quiet than the Tesla Model 3? Well, it's definitely less quiet. I mean, I don't think, obviously Model 3s and Model Ys are being built better and better, just like Model S, but overall, they're not very soundproof cars. And again, it depends on which model year. I'm sure you've walked by a Tesla a lot of times, and you can hear exactly what they're talking about. And I don't mean the driver, I mean somebody on the other line. Like, you're like, oh my goodness, it's almost like an external speakerphone sometimes. But of course, they're getting it taken care of more and more. I think that's what Tesla does, right? They improve their cars with every month, really. I was going to say year, every month, really. So, yeah, and ID4, one of the things that everybody agrees on, that if they've ever driven one, is that it's very quiet, smooth and quiet. So, yeah, absolutely. That's where there's no comparison. Just like the other way, if you race the two, ID4 stands no chance. All right. K-Man from Berlin, Germany. Never been, but I've been to Frankfurt. Would love to come back. why don't we, okay, Mega Wilderness asks, why do we not have 10,000 pound cars yet, which I think is about, what, $12,000 cars? Well, we do. Well, and by cars, you mean like electric cars, right? So the most sold car in, electric car in China is like $4,500, right? And then, well, the reason we don't have any new $12,000 electric cars yet is because it's a new technology, it's expensive. It's like asking, when iPhone came out, whatever that was, why aren't there, budget iPhones? Well, it's a new technology, and, the batteries cost a lot. Building new factories for them and the new production lines and hiring specialists and R&D people, all of that costs a lot of money. Billions and billions and billions have been invested by each company essentially to get it done. And yeah, so that's why, and it will come. Now, you can buy used a $12,000 electric car. Like, so for example, when my Volt, if I don't buy Volt out of my lease at the end of it in another 5 months, I will probably buy a used e-Golf, because that sucker has what, still probably 60, 70 good real world miles, which is more than enough here in Vegas. It can fast charge, and low mile e-Golf, at least here in the US, and I'm sure it might be even cheaper there, is like $12,000, $13,000. It was a great deal, and I would totally buy it. Those are good looking cars. They are nice inside because it's the Golf series been around for a while, so I'll totally do it. So yeah, I mean, you want a $12,000 car is not that common, by the way. So an electric one, it's definitely, yeah, that's a lot to ask for right now. Alberta Lima asks, thanks Alex, in Brazil in common to have suicide showers in houses, so our panels can set 36 amps just fine as long as you don't turn on the shower. Okay, I'm not really sure where a shower is. Is it like because it's an electric heater? But so I don't know particularly anything about Brazil in terms of infrastructure, but I'm just saying in other countries that is a concern, right? The actual grid. Rihan Ali asks, have you heard about multi-phase motors that use 6 or 9 phases instead of 3 phases in motion? I believe it's going to be the future of 2,000 plus horsepower performance electric hypercars. I don't know enough about motors. Like, that's a question for Sandy Monroe, and I think the audience for it is so small that not a lot of people really kind of get into it as much. This is actually the first time I've heard about it. All right, one of the Warren fans are here, who obviously wasn't paying attention to my appearance on the channel, and also doesn't know how easy it is to ban people. That's interesting. Ooh, you are banned. I never understand why people submit like negative comments knowing that all this effort goes into nowhere. I mean, I don't think people generally read negative comments and go like, that guy's right. Especially when it's nasty, but also, it's just so easy to boom, and he's gone, right? Let's see. Greg says, I wish I was the paid shill. All right, you guys have fun there. All right, WILLC 916. I'm assuming you're in Sacramento, huh? That's the area code. Oh wait, is it? Yeah, it is. Wait, I lost your comment. Oh no, I lost your comment. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, there you go. Hi Alex, once solid state batteries become mainstream, would new swap station become obsolete? Yes and no. Because don't forget, the swapping stations are not, so I'm going to go with no, because swapping stations, I had to think about it. So the swapping stations are not about just how fast you refuel, right? It's also about the pricing. So to me, car batteries should always be a leased and not owned thing, at least in most of the cases. Because, like, think about it, most of us drive very short distances every day. And we don't need to haul 100 kilowatt or 150 kilowatt hour batteries with us, right? When we use like 5% of it, and it adds weight, It adds price to the car because batteries is the most expensive, definitely most important, but the most expensive part of the car. Um, so, and but once in a while we need to go like to Vegas, for example, right, or Los Angeles, and that's when you do need a 150 kilowatt hour battery, so you can go as far as you can on one charge. And the battery swapping stations, whether at home or public or both, give you that opportunity. So if if the batteries would be leased, let's say you pay, $50 a month for 30 kilowatt hour battery that gets you around, no problem. But one of these days you need to go 2-3 hours away, 10-hour road trip. You go to one of those stations, you upgrade your plan or just one-time fee or whatever. You pay now $100 that month, but it allows you to go further on a bigger battery. And now you know that holding all that weight actually is worth it because you need it, right? So that's why I think the battery swapping stations will still, if adopted, which I can't believe they're not, will still play a pretty good role in that, because I think that's the whole point of battery swap, at least one of the two. But you're right, one of them will go away in terms of how fast you can charge, but at the same time, don't forget, I think charging a battery, no matter how solid state it is, would still be slower than if the battery swap stations actually perfected, right? Because a battery swap station, when perfected, it's already at 5 minutes. Can probably go down to 1 minute. And I don't know if any battery can be charged that fast anytime soon. So, then there's that. All right. Alex, any news on the Tesla Solar Roof? Well, I don't know what news you're waiting for. I know that I have a friend here in Sacramento who we were going to do, because he's installing the Tesla Solar Roof, and we were going to do kind of a little documentary of how this goes. And that was last year. And he still doesn't have his stuff done. So it's a nightmare. And a lot of it is not Tesla, obviously. A lot of it is utilities and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a great, great, great product. It will not be worth it in terms of savings. You kind of have to make sure that you are also ready to change your roof. And then together, it's still pricey, but together it might actually make more sense. But in terms of how much pain I see some people go through, just that alone wouldn't. Like, to me, I don't have solar on either one of my houses right now, and I live in a very sunny area. It's literally right now is 115 degrees outside. All I'm gonna do is maybe win $50 at most here, and definitely even less in Sacramento. And a hassle is, 2-3 months. Yeah, yeah. But I think Solar Roof is one of the most exciting Tesla products. It's just not there yet, especially with installation. Let's see. Roger, I don't understand your comment. 2 models or B models that Tesla produced. I don't understand that question. Sorry. Attila, he's a good journalist. Why do you follow? I didn't know who he was. I'm sorry. Let's see. Okay, another comment I don't understand. Guys, help me out here. All right. Fat Moss is in reference to the MX-30. Basically, that's the plug-in. No, that's a fully electric Mazda, right? Basically, I think it has the potential to be a Super Volt. Oh yeah, it is a plug-in hybrid with twice the EV range and in a good-looking SUV form. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Actually, yeah, I stand corrected, because I thought we were talking about a fully electric. You're right. That one, yeah, good. You're right. You're right on all points. Actually, I'm just going to agree. What cars are you most eager to test drive? Asks Rick Blanton. So when I had way less subscribers, it seemed like I got to have access to almost all of them, right? I was even one of the first people to check out the Hummer EV. And this year has been weird. Like, okay, so Mercedes EQS for sure, which I think might just be the best, if you don't look at the price tag, the best electric car in the market once it comes out. And obviously Audi e-tron GT, I test drove a prototype, like, 2 years at the LA Auto Show, which was one of the most cool experiences I've ever had, because I was driving, first of all, I was driving a very early prototype, And secondly, we had four motorcycles police escort through the streets of Los Angeles. And I always thought you either have to be a president or a prisoner, political prisoner, to have a police escort through LA, but turns out to be you can also be a very small YouTuber who likes Audi. So that was a really cool experience, but that was a very like early prototype. The motors were still like just like regular. So I would like to drive that one as well. I mean, obviously Rivian and Lucid haven't driven, nobody's driven those, right? So I would say those four would be on top of my list. And obviously anything that Tesla comes up with, I haven't driven obviously Cybertruck or semi-truck, that would be really cool. Good. Your question got me actual like blood flowing, right? All right, Mango 305, which just made me hungry, but I'm matching, your username matches my shirt color. What do you think of the Saunders Metacycle, and would you recommend it? I've never, it's not my expertise and it's not a personal interest, so I have not looked much into them and never seen one, well, maybe at the car show, but yeah, I honestly, I'm not the right guy for that. So I don't know. Sometimes the best answer is I don't know, because I don't want to give you an answer that will mislead you in any way. SRB says, what is the thing you like least about driving an electric car? That's easy. I think it's not just me. I would say 99% of people probably, right, is the fact that it takes a while to charge, which also is connected to range anxiety. I don't have it, but most people do. So I'll tell you this. I would have range anxiety if I was to drive my ID4 to Nevada from Sacramento and back, right? Because, as much as I like the Electrify America, I have not had any bad experiences with Electrify America, but even a couple of stories that I've heard, and sometimes it's not even Electrify America station, it's the app that says it exists and it doesn't exist yet, or it hasn't opened, and so I would be a little nervous there. But generally speaking, yes, it's definitely the charge time. It is the biggest thing that's holding, I believe, second one would be infrastructure, holding most people from getting an electric car. It's how fast it charges, which is very slow, and people, every time you have a new technology, the way to convince everybody to switch to it is when it's better than the current one in every single way. You can say that about electric cars, except for one. Very important category, and that's what it is. So, that it is for me. Let's see. Electric cyclist. Thank you for coming back. I remember from the last disastrous on my part, a live stream. I would love to hear your thoughts about the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6 when you get a chance to drive them. They look amazing and can charge very fast. Yeah, of a rapid charger. So yes, they are going to have both, I believe, 350 kilowatts of max charging. So that's going to be probably their best, segue from the previous question, right? It's going to be their best feature. I don't like the way either one of them looks. I don't hate it. I just don't like it. They're a little bit weird looking to me. But I know a lot of people do. I also need to see them in person because I don't think I've seen either one of them in person. And definitely I would love to drive it because, everything else about both of those cars are really awesome. From what I understand, it's going to be over the EPA range, just like with both Kona EV and Niro EV. So that's always good. But yeah, as soon as I drive them, you will see a video from me. Roger says you cannot fool Sandy. No, you cannot. Okay, so we already saw their Metacycle. I think we already did that one. Okay, Robert says, ooh, I have a super chat. Let me just answer Robert. Oh, I just got lost. Okay, great. Oh, Robert Chuffert says, a question. Induction road for highway long courier will be good. You're talking about the ones that it's an asphalt that essentially charges the car? Hell yeah, that means I will never have to have a charging station anywhere ever, right? But how expensive, it's going to be expensive, right? So I don't know, it would be great, but I think that's a little too far out in terms of how much investment we would have to have, especially if we will have either quick battery swaps or really quick chargers. That will not be solving any problems, right? I read that Polestar will accept art for payment. I've never heard of that. Will be interesting. I'll check on that. Well, I gotta go to the super chat. That's what they're for. From Nate Jones, $5. Thank you so much. I am heading to Chipotle and Starbucks, so I will use them up immediately. Nate asks, have you researched? Oh, has your research found any pneumatic electric car companies? I asked 2 weeks ago, and are you getting enough sleep? You sound a bit fatigued. Actually, okay, so I have not researched any of those car companies. Well, give me some examples, or you can direct message me on Twitter, and I'd be more than happy to research if you kind of point me in the right direction. I have not. Are you getting enough sleep? I am actually getting enough sleep, even though I'm in Vegas. I sound a bit fatigued. Well, I have gone to a lot of events where you kind of have to yell, loud events. So maybe plus I've been talking for an hour straight, and I recently woke up. I don't know if you guys know, I go to bed at around 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 last night, and I get up around 10:30 or so. So this is relatively an early morning for me. So that's why I look like I had a long day, but it's just I actually have a very short day. That's why. All right, and Fatmos says, with the kinds of delays Tesla Solar Roof has, it's basically possible to use it instead of replacing an old roof. Once your roof, great product, really bad execution. Hopefully it changes, and hopefully there will be competitors, right? Like, I think there are a couple of competitors doing it. I think just on a very, very small scale, but competition is good, right? Solar Roof doesn't have to be made by Tesla. Guys, I'm gonna have to skip some of the questions. Guy Hall is here from Sacramento, California, one of the board members of the local Sacramento Electric Car Association. Sorry if I'm not getting your title 100% right. One of the nicest guys I know, and one of the biggest electric car enthusiasts, so thanks for joining. It's always good to attend. The last meeting was pretty cool. By the way, if you guys are in Sacramento area, definitely sign up with them and definitely attend the events. I try to go when I can. Last time it was in the Automotive Museum, and so many people showed up with different EVs this time around. Maybe more than half of people drove non-Tesla, very different EVs. There was one a conversion, and I mean, and the museum itself has the EV1. Oh, actually, do they? They used to, for sure, but also a lot of old school OG electric cars as well. So even if you don't go to one of the meetings, check out the Automotive Museum if you live here or even passing by. I think it's only maybe 5 minutes off your route if you're going from the Bay Area to Tahoe. It's really cool. It's big enough to be cool. It's small enough not to spend half a day there or run through it too quickly, right? It's just the right size for a museum. Lots and lots of cool cars. Let's see. Rodets White asks, do you know why Volkswagen and Tesla don't have plans to put a van on the market in the near future? This looks like an underrated category. Well, just like with any, I agree with you, but also don't forget vans are pretty big. And honestly, I think Model X essentially is a van, right? I mean, it's half van, half SUV. And I think most people do use them as vans, right? When you have a bigger family and stuff like that, and it has 3 rows, an option at least. So, but yeah, I mean, all these companies, that are not Tesla, they're still kind of filling out the market. They only have 1 or maybe 2 electric cars that they're on the market for sure. The production is ramped up. So obviously, when you go to market, especially in the U.S., you want to produce a crossover, the most popular one, at least the one that obviously the trucks are, but within reason. In Europe, you want to do a hatchback, right? So for the market, actually, the minivans are not a good, viable product if you're a company that's coming out with a first or second or even third electric vehicle. I think we're going to be talking about either sedan or crossover first, then a luxury one. Don't forget, it's easier to produce, to go in the market with a luxury 4-door sedan or anything luxury, because you can at least have some profit margin. Like Porsche, obviously making some profits on selling $200,000 Taycans. because the profit can be built in there. Where if you're producing something very cheap, or even I would say minivans are still within people who are on the budget. It's harder to make profits, but it's harder to make cars. So that's why it's coming for sure. I think this will be just a wave of vans, minivans at some point once each brand is good on like regular, most popular, easy and cheap to make cars. So wait a little bit. But I hear your pain, especially if you have a family. Let's see. Okay, sometimes I don't understand the questions, guys. So you're gonna have to do a better job. I'm sorry. Jonathan asks, do you think the gas cars will gradually die off, or will there be an inflection point where gas car sales and prices will collapse over a very short period? So I think it's going to be a combination, right? One is a lot of governments, whether here, state, local governments, or countries, are essentially already planning on prohibiting new gas car sales by 2030 on average, right? 2030, 2035. And so we have less than a decade to go where you won't be able to buy a gas car. Now, I think there are problems there. Like, for example, our governor here, I should say I'm in Nevada right now. The California governor is going to be my governor by about midnight once I'm back tonight, if Southwest will get me there. So I, a lot of times these governments, they want to say, yeah, we're going to 2030, all electric. But like, for example, our governor Newsom has not put together any essentially plans to rescue us Californians from what's happening with our grid, which is essentially PG&E that's burned cities and people alive with their just complete lack of upgrading and maintaining the grid, even for what we have now. Every time there's like a summer and everyone's turning air conditioning on, they're unable to handle it. They're either fires or rolling blackouts. And so that brings me to, hey, how are we going to have everybody charging their electric cars? So multiplying the adoption by 20 or 30 times from what it is right now, when our grid can't even handle air conditioning right now. How is it going to handle electric cars? So if you don't have a plan for the infrastructure, your 2030 plan for all electric is nothing, right? But getting back to your question, yes, by 2030, 2035, 2040, at some point, the gas cars are just going to be illegal. You'll be like, hey, can I get a gas? You're going to have to buy it behind 7-Eleven. And if you want to buy one from, I don't know, I'm going to assume Toyota, you're going to have to go behind 7-Eleven next to a drug dealer who will sell you some, whatever, and whatever they sell. You're going to also be able to buy some gas cars in the black market, but it will be illegal to sell them. So that will be one thing. But at the same time, I think the consumers are just going to want electric cars. Electric cars are just more technologically advanced, right? And they're cheaper because, it's, at least for now, the electricity is cheaper. There are incentives. There are a lot of, and they're just faster and better in so many ways, right? Usually the way to sell an electric car to a person is just let them drive it. No need to watch YouTube videos or talk to anybody. Just get into an electric car and you'll see. I mean, unless it's like a first generation Leaf or i3, but most of the time it is just getting in there. So I think at some point consumers will see that, but the consumers will also see is like, well, why would I buy a gas car where we obviously see the gas cars are going away? What's going to happen to my resale value, right? And then the used gas cars are also going to be going down in price because people will go like, well, I don't want to buy technology that's outdated. I'd rather buy an electric car or used electric car. So I think it's going to be a combination, as always, between the government and consumers, and that's how they're going to get faded out. Let's see. Thomas says, love your YouTube videos. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate all the kind comments. I really do, guys, because most of the time when I read comments, they're not so kind. Kind people rarely leave comments, right? It's usually people who want to tell you how much you suck. Leave comments or make YouTube videos about you, and then you have to go and debate them on their channels. Whatever. All right, so let's see if there are any more questions. Hey, how's, okay, for a second my feed stopped here, but, all right, another super chat, $20 from Andrew. I think this is one of the biggest ones I've had so far in the last few streams. So, all right, what are your thoughts on Arcimoto's FUV? Tough questions, I'll tell you why. First of all, thank you again for super chat, actually pretty generous super chat, Andrew. But, okay, so first of all, okay, let's just start with stuff that I have no problem saying. Three-wheeled vehicles are not for me. But, you know, again, I think Sandy Monroe is involved with them, so that's another good sign, and he's been kind of talking about them for a while, so that's a good sign. There's a market for them, obviously. So I would say after Aptera, that would probably be the second best bet for now. Here's the stuff that, okay. There is somebody on the board of directors of Arcimoto that has participated in attacks on social media of electric car journalists, YouTubers, and so forth. And that is never okay. I'm never going to be okay for somebody attacking people personally, or you know, doing the cancel culture, and doing apologetically so. That person I knew, you know, sort of, and I reached out to that person saying, hey, are you sure you want to be part of that? And that person said something that was not really acceptable to me. So I don't, like, I know I'm a journalist that's supposed to cover all of this. On the other hand, like, do I want to give publicity to a brand where someone like that benefits from that brand? It's a tough one for me. It's really a tough one for me, between a journalist and a person who doesn't want to promote someone or make money to someone who is who's basically making social media a horrible place to be. If you've noticed, like on Twitter, I almost never reply. I just post whatever, whenever my video comes out, because Twitter is literally the worst place on earth, virtually, I think. It's really, I see nothing but nastiness and attacks there. So it's people like that who make that place this way, and which makes it even worse on us, people who are actually trying to make content and trying to do something with a space. So I don't want to support that type of person, right? So I'm torn. So that's what I know it's a very long, weird answer, but again, I'm also maybe not the right person, because I will not be buying a wheeled vehicle unless, like, you know, like I might be going to Aptera's headquarters in the next few months and, you know, driving the thing, and I might just fall in love, right? But it's just for my use, and also, like, I'm all about safety, and, you know, the safety for the three-wheeled vehicles, because of the regulations don't require it, is going to be lower. You're not going to be driving it most likely on freeways, but, you know, I just like to, I am not the right person. I'm not the right person to get excited about it, so, and especially about this brand, so. Oh, there's a bidding war. Jonathan is outbidding here at $21. You guys are awesome. Now I can afford my Chipotle and my Starbucks, so that's cool. Hi, he starts with, hi, I beat the $20 super chat. That's right. Thanks for answering my questions. Hopefully Cali comes to their senses and applies some logic to the place of their decarbonization. Why are you making me say long words I can barely pronounce? Decarbonization. Oh, okay, I think I got it, sort of. All right. Yeah, you know, here's the thing. Yeah, I don't want to talk politics, but I think if anybody can, I think it's me, because I'm not a Republican or Democrat. I'm not a conservative or Republican. I'm usually in the middle. That's why I like living in purple areas like Sacramento, and in Vegas, it's half Republican, half Democrat, and overall, I feel like I get best and worst of both worlds, right? Like, I don't want to live in the Bay Area anymore. LA County, it's too conservative for me, and I wouldn't want to live in, like, really, like, conservative states like Texas or Alabama, right? Like, I kind of like this because I'm in the middle. So, and that unfortunately means that I can never vote for a politician where I agree 100% with them. So that's a bit tough for me. But same thing with here, right? Like, I appreciate California is definitely leading the way in, you know, green energy, in obviously paving the way for low emission standards, and there's a good reason why we're, like, by far have more electric cars here than anywhere else, minus Norway, obviously, for some reason. still don't know how they're doing it, but But on the other hand, we do have a lot of dumb things that we do here. So like that would be one of them, right? So I'm not a big fan of our governor. Honestly, I think he could have done better with a lot of things, but also I think other people could have done worse. I just think his 2030 let's go all electric is just dumb. I'm just gonna say it. It's just dumb because you cannot just say it. You have to have a plan, which definitely has to include infrastructure. And right now, he's done nothing to even stop the whole energy grid from collapsing, which I have a feeling at some point, if we don't do anything about it, right? We have PG&E, that's for-profit organization that just doesn't care about people, like at all. Like I don't think they care about lives. I'm surprised that PG&E executives are not all in jail, like Dieselgate executives. It's beyond me, but they should be, I think. Now, I luckily live in the area, so here in Vegas, the electricity is relatively cheap. I think I have LV Energy, and in Sacramento, we have SMUD, which is a city utility or county utility. Like when I was in the Bay Area, I was the only city, which was Santa Clara, that had their own utility company, which so the electricity was cheap. But everywhere else, PG&E, it's a disaster, and I literally mean that literally. Plus super expensive bills. So yeah, as you can see, I can talk about it a lot, but I think we can do better here in California, and we're being quite stupid and naive thinking what we're going to be at the cutting edge of things, banning gas car sales by 2030 while having no plan to how can we actually do it with infrastructure. This is why I can never be a politician, right? George M., keep up the good work. Thanks for all you do. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Just like Seth, kind words there's shortage of chips and kind words, I think, in this industry. Well, definitely on social media, so I appreciate that. Dario says, hi from Italy. Oh, I want to go back. Italy was so good to me. I was in, just escaped my mind. Milan was so amazing. I would love to go back. Hi from Italy. What do you think about Model Y, honestly? I mean, listen, a lot of people love the damn thing. It looks really slick. It's you can have the cutting edge technology with the self-driving package, full self-driving package, but it's not for me. So I need a door handle. I feel like these door handles are really cheap, and the problem with them, first of all, you cannot open the door with your left hand really easily, right? When you open it with the right door and where like right now, if I park my Model Y outside and it has those metal ones, you will burn the hell out of your hand at 115-degree temperature. So you can't open your door. Like you have to literally do it with your shirt, like a bathroom door when you open it, right? You don't want to get bacteria and whatever else people grab the door handles with. Same thing with entering a Model X, Model Y or Model 3. So that to me is a deal breaker. Then number two is the lack of the instrumental panel. To me, I need to have one or HUD or hopefully both. Without it, for me, deal breaker. Vents for the air conditioning. I need to be able to grab it and move it as I'm driving without looking at it anywhere. Can't do it, right? Have to do it go through a few screens to get it done. So those three are deal breakers. Also, if I'm going to pay $50,000 or $60,000 for a car, it better be a luxury car, which Model 3, Model Y are not. They have gotten better with the materials, but it's still cheap to me. It feels cheap and it looks cheap to me. I know people call it simplistic. All right, fine. But to me, if I'm buying a $60,000 car, I want some luxury and some good build quality. And that's not what Model 3, Model Y unfortunately have. Again, they've been improving, but that's not for me. And the reason I haven't bought Teslas in a while, and really the number one reason, is customer service. I really think that, and I'm not saying it, people think like, well, I'm really mad at Tesla because they provided bad experience for me for years. Well, first of all, yeah, that's true, I have a right to, but don't forget, I actually, moderate two of relatively big groups for Model S and Model Y owners, so totaling of, I think, over 50 or 60 of this, about 50,000 members. So I see what the pain points are in the community, and I got to tell you, customer service every day, I see 2, 3, 4 messages, people are really frustrated that they can't get a hold of their service advisor. They can't figure out when they need to end their ownership of the previous car because their delivery dates get all over the place. They don't know. Like people need to plan it. So overall, I feel like how Tesla treats customers, like they're great to the investors, right? Can't think of a better company that would be this awesome to the investors. But to customers, for my taste, who actually believes customer service is like part of any product, unacceptable. So, but again, some people don't care about customer service. Then Model Y is in play, and they don't care about the having the instrumental panel, and the door handles are just fine. Well, then hell, that car is great, right? So again, my opinion is this, but I don't want to push my opinion on other people because again, this is very, very personal. Ooh, another super chat. You guys are throwing money at me today. I appreciate that. Roger Debats says, really enjoy your channel. Once again, thank you so much, Roger. Elon's estimate of 10,000 square miles of solar can power the whole country doesn't match the new solar farms near me. 10 to 11 acres per megawatt is order of magnitude larger. Are you complaining that Elon has exaggerated something? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. And also, I mean, square miles of solar is also not a good way to measure things. Solar panels, I just did a video about that. Solar panels are of different quality. Some can gather twice as much energy per square footage, per the same square footage as others. So that's kind of, it's a big difference. Secondly, don't forget longevity of that. Meaning like better quality solar panels can be at 90% of capacity, still gathering 90% of what they used to over, let's say, 5-year period, where some will go down to 70, 60. So again, speaking of square mileage, you kind of have to add quality, right, efficiency, and longevity to that. So I think just by default, that statement is too simplistic to take seriously. Then that's, I think I'm gonna end there. But thank you for the super chat once again. I appreciate it. Dark Uli says, "Hi, Alex. Is Ulysses joining? Just joining? Oh, Alex, this is Ulysses just joining. I'm probably gonna end this in the next few minutes because one, my voice, but two, I have to start packing. I'm heading out to the airport, and I still have some work to do, and actually I have one more appointment. So." I think greetings from New Jersey, from Bam Bam Entertainment. Very New Jersey appropriate, I would say. Okay, I'm gonna do this one. So Produte Guha says, dude, you got good content, your hard work's come through, I appreciate it, but I'm reading this comment for the butt part. But seriously, change your intro. E4 Electric Scream is way too dated and drab. Also, you can work on your camera work and aesthetics. I love comments like this because you have to understand that a lot of people love that jingle and some people don't. The jingle itself, I believe it's like 2.5 seconds. So I don't always understand comments when I would produce hours and hours of videos a month. And the complaint is that 2.5. As a matter of fact, the typing of that complaint probably took that if you were to watch all of my videos like this year and put together the jingles like, in one continuous time lapse. Like, I can't, with music, you can't please with everybody. Like, I remember I took it off at one point, and it was longer, so I just took it off. And then people are like, hey, I missed it. And sometimes people see me in person, either friends or just people sometimes recognize me in places. They'll sing the jingle to me. So I'm just saying that some people absolutely love it. Some people don't care for it one way or another. It's whatever. And if you don't like it, honestly, you just have to live through 2.5 seconds of that. If you like my content, I feel like it's worth it. And I don't know what camera work means. My camera is stationary most of the time. So I don't know what you mean by that, and aesthetics, I don't even know. But okay, and you give me so your follow-up is giving me a comparison to one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, both of them, with ridiculously huge staff and budgets. I think you're being unreasonable. As much as I appreciate your comment, you're being unreasonable here. You're asking me how come I can't produce videos as good as you know, people with millions of dollars and staff. It's a little silly. I hope you, but listen, like you see, I don't shy away from criticism, but it has, like, if I missed a fact, or if my opinion maybe is something different that you think, you know, should be based on some reality or facts, or maybe I didn't cover an event or something like that. That type of criticism, I can actually do something. But I don't like your jingle, that's 2 seconds long. It's not in the category of a constructive criticism. I would say that, you know? Yeah. It's kind of funny, people who want to like compliment them actually send me super chat, but people who want to actually like throw a rotten tomato at me, no super chats. Okay. All right. Now, Jonathan actually makes a good point. Nuclear is a good solution for northern latitudes. You know, people are afraid of nuclear because of disasters, right? Because nuclear goes wrong, oh my God, it's a disaster for decades. But actually, the way they do it now is very safe, and the waste, I think that some nuclear reactors like literally have a bucket of waste per year. Like, that's it. So I think it's more people scared of it, but it is a great technology. I remember at some point, I think Germany or some European country that had like 80% of their energy being generated by very safe nuclear plants. And a lot of people don't want them nearby, right? Like, I don't know, like a lot of people are like, I don't want to live near a nuclear plant. I don't need an 11th finger or third eye. Well, actually, third eye would be kind of cool. So will the 11th finger, but you know what I'm saying. Let's see. Oh my God, Dario says, thanks for the honest answer. And I am actually a Milan taxi driver with a Prius V at the moment. Maybe next taxi will be electric, don't know yet. Oh man, Milan was so good to me. I love it. I have nothing but great memories. I actually ended up not going to too many tourist attractions. I actually went into the neighborhoods, little Italian coffee shops. Italian language just sounds so amazing to me. I actually follow a lot of Italian singers from the 80s, like Toto Cutugno and then Adriano Celentano. And I think the second one became a politician there. See, Benjamin says, yeah, I kind of like the jingle too. I know, right? It's just, you can't win. When I talk to other YouTubers, I ask them about, like, well, what does the audience think about your jingles and stuff like that? And like most people don't care either way, but there will be small bunch of people who love it, and there will be small bunch of people who hate it. And I think it's just true for anything, right? Because that's music. Let's see. Keep up the awesome work, Alex. I appreciate that. See another one. Nate says, I like the jingle. Jonathan say, I like the jingle. So see, now you're outnumbered there. Portion who didn't. Roger says, you're right. Tesla service centers, no watts, right? This is a tech, not copied by others. Okay, I got lost in your comment. I'm sorry. Let's see. Shalom says, Shalom Gordon says, in Europe, side mirrors are not a legal requirement. Do you think that Giga Berlin will make all cars without side mirrors? If you will use the built-in cameras, or will they have ugly sticks like the e-tron? Okay, so the only so when I was in Spain, I drove the e-tron with the camera mirrors and with the regular mirrors. I still like the regular mirrors. I don't like where they're located on the door, essentially, for the e-tron. I think in the position it would be a little bit better, like in the Honda E, for example. I would be more interested in that. I also don't like the back cameras that get projected into the rear view mirror, like in the Bolt. It's cool, but it messes up my depth perception. And that's, you know, that gives me a bit of a, like, kind of a vertigo, so I don't like that. Again, this is just me, just my personal opinion. But I also think that those side mirror, the cameras are kind of cool. I know they look like little sticks, and yeah, e-tron's not the best, but there's a great way to implement it where it's aerodynamic and slick and cool looking. So I think, yeah, I think they're fine. Just the positioning of the little monitors need to be better. Could you organize more episodes with Sandy? Says Jan. Well, honestly, I think I'm the only other channel besides his where he is on regularly, which is once a month. As a matter of fact, this month, oh, okay, this 4 week stretch. Look, this month, it's August, right? Yeah, so I'm going to have him on twice. One video is coming out on Thursday. It's a part 2 of our previous conversation. And another video is coming up in another 2 or 3 weeks after that. And, you know, honestly, like, he's got his own YouTube channel, you know, like, you can watch a lot of videos there. But if anything, I want to get more people to participate as contributors in my channel than more of one particular one, no matter how awesome he is. Though I think both Tom and Sandy, my regular contributors, are amazing. So, and I'm just so lucky to have both of them. It's ridiculous. France, says Mike P. France, that's right, 80% nuclear. And yes, Germany did shut down. So I kind of thought it was the same. No, I knew it was different countries, but I thought it was the same story where they had 80% and then shut down. But you're right, Germany shut down, France 80%, which is cool. All right, guys. I would like to hang out more, but I need to save my voice for a few other things that I have to do today. And on top of that, I need to start packing because I definitely don't want to be late for the airport because there are delays and all kinds of stuff. I'm glad that you got to see my studio, my camera. This is what I shoot with when I'm out and about. This boom mic is usually just out of reach, like just above me when I do my videos here and in Sacramento. And these lights, I need to maybe buy them for my studio in Sacramento because I have 4 of these. 2 of them light up the backdrop and 2 of them like right now on me, right? And I think that's why it looks pretty decent in HD. So thank you to all of those who submitted the super chat. I really appreciate it. You guys know that I'm full-time doing this, making a living on it. Not as good as I used to make when I was in the corporate world, but that's fine. Like I was just telling somebody the other day, if I continue getting paid half of what I used to get paid when I was in the corporate world, but I get to do this awesome thing, I will take it any time of day. So, but thank you for contributing financially. I know some of you are also premium members. If you're not, I do produce some, and there's already a bunch of exclusive footage, like my full interview with the Congressman Welch, who is one of the authors of one of the bills for the $7,500 credit to come back to Tesla and everybody else. And of course, don't forget Thursday, that's going to be Sandy Munro video, and Sunday is going to be my regular news video, though I just produced one, and I think it has the most corny jokes I've ever had in one video. So check it out. And oh, another thing is I can't wait to get back to Sacramento because that's where I get the I just got the actual, you know, gasoline scented fragrance from Ford. They actually send me bottles, so I'm actually going to be able to check it out. And then on Thursday, so I got invited to check out the F-150 Lightning in person. Unfortunately, that's when I'm taping my stuff with Sandy, and he's super busy. I'm not going to move that. So my production assistant, Michael, is going to go and check it out for himself. So we're going to have some F-150 footage. And then we'll see. I'm hoping things are going to start really picking up in terms of car shows and events and media drives and stuff like that. So I'll be able to bring more of on location, on site type of stuff, and you guys will be able to check out more stuff with me. All right, thank you to all of you guys for commenting, for watching, for super chats, for being premium members. And don't forget, I'll do this at least for the rest of this month at 1 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday. So, all right, guys, I hope you had a good time. I'll see you next Tuesday. Other than that, see you guys next time. And remember to stay charged.